everybody. I will start my new day with a video named The Secret of Becoming Mentally Strong. Now, let's get started. So I had a favorite friend who likes him. She looked across the house and did a really recorded career. As you know, we go on our exciting adventure together every weekend, and Instagram might take the professional photographer along with them. They got a radical what to do. The whole family is beautiful, and she always boasting about her she and her beautiful live the way that she have. I get the feeling just saying nothing the secret Facebook, but they truly mean that. Having a friend kinda like that. And how many of you don't like that person come down? We all do this, right? It's hard not to do. But that's way of thinking, cause that something. That's what I got to deal about today. I thought about habit. Quotas. Maybe a girl from the Facebook feeding only so what you throw my eye. At the 5 seconds of my time, how could be hurting me? A research has found that entering the friend of Facebook actually you get the freshen. And just one the drop that the American shot from us. Have you first complained about the board? Or took the friend line bond? Why did they have overlock? They got a thinking that way, right? Their thinking seems more in the moment. In fact, it might make you feel better in the moment. Now that's where you're thinking you're eating the way the tomato strength. The three kind of this that believe that make us squirrels effective and drawers and run my strength. The first one is the one-header believe ourselves. We tend to feel sorry for ourselves. In order to get sad when something bad happens, self-pity go beyond that to start to imagine the fortune when they're thinking like, what do you think they have to happen to me? I should have kept deal with this. And we think we keep the stock, keep the focus on the problem, keep them perfect, finding the solution. And even when you can create the solution, you can also take the step to make your life for somebody else just like better. But you can't do that when you're busy holding the body. The second type of responsibility that hold back is unhappy belief that others. We think that other people can control us and we give away our power. But in the those celebrate free country, that very healthy that might you have to do. So when you say I have to go play, you give away the power. Don't be the constantly confusion you don't correct that. But other choice. Or you say, my mother and I drive me crazy. They give away the power. Maybe she's not the nicest person on earth. It was up to you how you respond to her. You're in control. The third type of unhealthy belief that's not that back. It's only belief that's all the world. We tend to think that the root of something. We think if I put in hard work, that I deserve success. But expecting success or volunteer love for a quote reward, but already does disappointment. But I know it hard to gear a random habit, not to get right unhealthy beliefs that we carry about with us for so long. But you can't afford not to get them up because they all later. You get to have a time to that life. You need all the mental strength you can master. But I want to tell you yet though, I thought to have life all figured out. I graduated from grad school. I wanted my first guitar at Fairfest. I got married and I even bought a house. I thought it's candy bread at Grand Borough Drumstomers they said. But they were wrong. But all changed for me one day when I got a phone call from my sister. She said that her model get found unresponsive, we then taken to the hospital. My husband, Connie, and I jumped in my car and drove to the hospital because the image could be wrong. My mother is only 51, and we had the any kind of heart problem. He got to the hospital, doctors explained he has a brain and a prism. Within 24 hours, my mother, gonna wake up in the morning state the great day of their life, passed away. A student several taken to me, Mary has a very close. It is celibate, I want to actual level to go feel free, but knowing it and doing it can be two very different things. Take a long time before I get my really healing. And then at the three university, my mother's step, a friend called and invited linking me to basketball game. I go endlessly. We think of the same auditorium, but laughing my mother at the night before he passed away. I had even after that, but inside want to go back. But Lincoln and I talked about it. I ultimately said that you are with way to honor her memory, so we went to the game. We actually had a good time for our friends. On the drive home that night, you talk about how great why we go back to that place. And I remember I rather smile rather than almost giving a step nap. A story after we get home that night, we got our few up. Few minutes later, your girl up. Had to go for an and stop. History must be a different with me room. We waited for same forever. To find a thought that came out. When taking us back to Lincoln. It's a gradual private room. Instead of store, next plan to a Lincoln, where most eventual personal met were gone. We didn't know at the time, but at the Hobbit talk, we are only 26, hitting our history problem. So now I found myself 26 years later, and I need to help my mom. I had to get through that. You know, I done the second row with up. So I have a Facebook friend who lives in perfect. She lives in the gorgeous house. She had a really recording career. And she and family go on only exciting adventure together on the weekends. And as well as a medic professional photographer along with them. Because no matter when they go, what they do, the whole family just look beautiful. And she only posts how blessed she is and how grateful she is for the life she has. And they have the feelings you not must saying those things you're afraid of people will truly mean this. How many of you have a friend kind of like that? And how many of you kind of don't like the person sometimes? We all do this, right? It's hard not to do. But that way of thinking costs us something. And that's what I want to talk to about today. I got a bad habit cost us. Maybe a squirrel or afraid of feeding and doing so much around my eyes, and just 5 seconds of my time I could be hurting me. All researchers have found the anything every from Facebook actually leads to depression. It's just one of the traits that a mind can set for us. How would you complain about the boss? Or look at the friends lie and toss? Why does they have all the luck? Can we are thinking that way right that we're thinking seems more in the moment? In fact, it might even make you feel better in the moment. But that way thinking is eating the way to mental charm. That risk of detractor beliefs that make it less effective and robbers in mental charm. The first one is unhealthy belief about ourselves. We tend to feel sorry for ourselves. and overtaking to be sad when something bad happened. Self-pity goes beyond that when you start to magnify your misfortune. When you're thinking like, what do you think you have to happen to me? I shouldn't have to deal with this. Overthinking keeps us stuck. Either focus on the problem, keep you from finding a solution, and even when you can create a solution, can always take steps to make your life or somebody else's life better. But you can do that when you're busy hosting the pity party. The second type of detractant belief that holds us back is unhealthy belief about others. We think that other people can control us and we give away our power. But often we live in a free country. There are very few things you might have to do. So when you say, I have to work late, you give away your power. Can maybe be consequence of you don't work less, but still a choice. Or when you say, my mother-in-law drive me crazy, you give away the power. Maybe she's not a nice person on us, but it's up to you how to respond to her because you're in control. The third type of unhealthy belief that holds us back is unhealthy belief about the world. We tend to think that the world will offer us something. We think if I put in enough hard work, I deserve success. But expecting success to flow into a lap or some sorts of cosmic reward will only lead to disappointment. But I know we have to give up our bad mental habits. We have to get the unhealthy belief that carried you away for so long. But you can't afford not to give them up. Because sooner or later, you got to hit time in the life. Even you need all the mental strength you can measure. When I was 22, we really had life all figured out. I graduated from the grad school. I landed my first job as therapist. I got married. I even bought a house. I thought this girl when great a gradual jumpstart on success. But it could go wrong. That all changed for me one day. I got a phone call from my sister. She said that her mother was found unresponsive. Is when taken to the hospital. My husband Lincoln and I jumped in the car and rushed to the hospital. We got the imagine could be wrong. We were only 51. She didn't have any history in the kind of health problems. When we got to the hospital, doctor explained she had a brain aneurysm. And within 24 hours, my mother used to wake up in the morning say, too great day to be alive, passed away. That news depressing to me. Mother and I have been very close. As therapist, I do want intellectual level to go through. But knowing it and doing it can be two different things. Took a long time before I felt like I'm really healing. And then on the 3-year anniversary of my mother's death, some friends called. I invited Lincoln to me to a basketball game. Constantly, we came the same auditorium as seen my mother and the night before she passed away. I've been back that scene. Wasn't sure want to go back. And Lincoln and talked about it. And to me, we said, maybe it's a good way to honor her memory when we went to the game. We actually had a really good time with our friends. On drive home that night, we talked about how great it could finally go back to that place. I remember my mother will smile, and although think a sadness. But shortly after we got home that night, this angle didn't feel well. Few minutes later, he collapsed and we called ambulance. Our family left me emergency room, waited for a seemed like forever. Till father after came out. The doctor take us back to see Lincoln. He just got to private room and sat us down. Explained to us that Lincoln was the most adventurous person I ever met. Was gone. We didn't know at the time, but he had a heart attack. We were only 26. It didn't any history plus problem. So now I found myself a 20-year window. I didn't have my mom. I had thought I could get through this. And to disguise that as a painful period in my life with the understatement. And during that time, I realized you're really going to thought charm. It could habits aren't enough. Only take one or two small habits to really hold you back. I worked as hard as I could. I did not create the good habits in my life, but to get the raw, small habits, the small I see him. Throughout it all, I have thought someday life could get better. Eventually it did.